Hey, welcome to the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. Bess McCarty here, Victoria, Kansas. Here for this show where we cover one personal growth book a month. This month it is Failing Forward by John Maxwell, an incredible book. And we have an incredible chapter today about taking risks. Take a risk. There's no other way to feel forward. So we're going to talk about that today, how to safely take a risk. This show is sponsored by the MLM Millionaire Academy, our generic school for network marketers. And usually Jeffrey David Gamble and Brandy Pember present this class Monday through Friday. I'm the Wednesday person, but today I'm filling in for them. They have family popped in from out of town, so on a surprise visit, and I'm real happy for them. That's a priority for me as family. So I'm filling in for them today. Our school, just to let you know, is we teach personal growth within the school and also some incredibly famous methods called the favor script, how to always get a yes, how to never get objections, how to build your business fastest, get top earners, pre-qualify, all of that. The best methods that I've ever seen in network marketing, and I'll post a link for it below in case you want to check it out or join us. There's no contract, it's very affordable, and you can find it at the MLMMillionaireClub.com/basics. MLMMillionaireClub.com/basics, even though it's really the MLM Millionaire Academy now that we renamed it. So you're welcome to check that out. I'm glad you're here, and welcome, Brandy. How are you doing? Wow, good to see you. Brandy Shunk, and knew her when we both lived in Austin. Wonderful mother, wife, entrepreneur. How are you doing? Glad to see you. What's new? And if everyone else is watching the replay, please type in replay because I'd like to thank you for watching. And let's talk now about failing forward. Actually, what I should do is I should invite a few people and invite you to invite people as well. Maybe you know someone who can use some personal growth this morning, some John Maxwell, which is always intense and perfect. We're talking about failure, how to overcome failure, how to have a failure and learn from it and not be a failure, not identify with failure. How to have a mistake and learn from it, but not be one. So today in this chapter about taking risks, I got a real good aha, which I'll share with you. Something I've been really struggling with for years and years. And by presenting this chapter today and being able to read this over, I got a great aha. I was a full-time network marketer for years, helped me raise my son as a single mom. And then I went into when my company went out of business, I went into the body-mind field for my own personal growth and to help other people. And I brought this back to network marketers about 12 years ago. So I've been a dedicated generic coach because I believe I can help more people that way all over the world, which I have been doing. And both private coaching and in our school, the MLM Millionaire Academy, getting great results, people jumping ranks all the time. And I'm very thrilled about that, very happy about that. Best training that I've ever seen for network marketers. So very happy to be doing all this. They call me the shrink of MLM because I am a body-mind therapist and have helped people to overcome blocks and fears for decades, and especially in network marketing, and jump ahead to 6 or 7 figures or whatever that they desire. So that is my job. That's what I love doing, and under that I present this show today. So enough inviting. Thank you for everyone for being here. Okay, so the lesson today in this book, Failing Forward by John Maxwell. Very important. Take a risk. There's no other way to fail forward. Take a risk. So we're scared of risks, right? Because they might hurt. I might fail. They might be a cost to us in some way. And it's said in business that we do take calculated risks. In other words, we take wise risks that are a little scary to us, but not too huge a cost that we would just crush and fold or die, or a business would die as a result. We take calculated risks, but how much? So John Maxwell here gives us these tips. And welcome, Jim Bailey. Hey, thank you for the likes and loves. I appreciate that. And also thank you for sharing. Some people share into other Facebook groups. He says, go for it. Go for it. That's your theory, right? When you're faced with a risk, that's Jim's advice is to go for it. GFI. To go for it. If you're wondering whether to do it, Jim, just listen to Jim. He'll tell you. And so It was Henry Link who said, while one person hesitates because he feels inferior, the other is busy making mistakes and becoming superior. Right? If we think, well, am I good enough? Can I do this? The other person is going ahead and getting that mistakes, because guess what? That's the preciousness of life, is making the mistakes. That's where the learning lies, getting the experience. So failure or not, mistakes or not, we're going to gain experience going ahead. And maybe that's the better question to ask. Is not, do I think I can succeed? Because a lot of times we decide to take a risk based on how probable it is that we're going to succeed. But what if we did it different? What if we assessed a risk and whether to go ahead based on what I'm going to learn from that thing, whether I succeed or not? What if we based our decision on what I'm going to learn, what I can learn from it? Because that is our money in the experience bank, right? And the experience does translate into money, because experience translates into wisdom, translates into better decisions, translates into more successes, translates into more success in our relationships, in our financial, all of that. Hey, Mr. Roeder, good to see you. Jim Bailey and David Roeder are star students in our MLM Millionaire Academy, the generic school for network marketers that sponsors this show. So awesome. You guys should follow them. They always have incredible posts and a lot of wisdom to share. So thank you for being on here. I'd love to hear more of your wisdom here too, you guys, and Brandy and all of you who are watching. Love to hear your wisdom here that other people can learn from you. So this is my great aha moment. I'll share this right up front. If I am to assess a risk as to how much I learned from it, or my past failures, how much I learned from it, what if everything was assessed by that learning? So I have made some mistakes in business, some very, very, very costly mistakes. Many dozens of thousands of dollars each time. And I can look back and I can say, well, then, Bess, you should not invest money like that anymore. You didn't make very good decisions. Maybe you should not invest money like that anymore. Maybe those were failures. Maybe those were losses. Maybe those set you back so much, you know. Or I can say, what did I learn from those things that maybe I can make 10 times the money that I lost going forward? And isn't that what school is all about? In other words, if I look at that money that I spent as the cost of my schooling, which is many times greater than the schooling nowadays, you know, the average student loan is $60,000 or something. Well, it was a lot more than that, that I've lost, but that in things that I have attempted that failed. And by the way, Richard Branson says that half of the things that he's attempted have failed, but half have worked. So you just can't go without it. Who was the famous batter? Was it Babe Ruth, who had the most home runs in baseball, but he also had the most strikeouts? See, it seems to me like they go hand in hand. Those risks and those failures and the mistakes go along with the successes. You can't have one without the other. If we learn from our failures, we can't have successes. If we're going to have successes, we can't learn along the way without having failures and mistakes that we learn from, so we can have the darn successes, right? So now, after reading this chapter, I just got this different viewpoint of my past. I thought, okay, that was money that I paid to go to school, the School of Hard Knocks, and get the experience and learn. That was my schooling. That was the cost of my schooling. And when you go to school, you put in the $60,000 or $200,000 that some school is, depending on what the profession, to be able to make much more than that back later. And I thought, what if that was not a failure as much as it was the cost of my schooling to be able to make much more money than I ever lost? That is why people go to school, right, to become a doctor or lawyer, and they invest that much money. How much is it? I forget. But they invest a lot of money to be able to make much more than that in the future. So suddenly I had a different view. But John Maxwell describes failure. He says, you know, great explorers. Every area has its great explorers, people willing to face danger and break new ground and discover new worlds. Americans love these kind of people. The names of pioneers and daring adventures ring throughout history, like Columbus and Crockett and Lewis and Clark and Lindbergh and Armstrong. And it was the famous pioneer aviator, Charles Lindbergh, said, "What kind of man would live where there is no daring? I don't believe in taking foolish chances, but nothing can be accomplished if we don't take any chances at all." So this reminds me a lot of the virus. Do we sit at home and isolate ourselves completely? Or do we forget about everything and just go out and act like there's no virus? I seem to like to take the middle road of going out and living life, but taking precautions and knowing that it's not going to eliminate all the risk, as if I just sat home totally alone. Because when I did that, I got down. You know, I wasn't doing what I was supposed to. I wasn't going out and connecting with people and hugging my family and everything. And I felt down, totally isolating. So that's not the answer. And people who go out to parties and just totally ignore it, you know, like 16 people went to a bar and they all came down with COVID, you know, because they just completely ignored everything. So what's, you know, do I have to choose between those two extremes, or can I find a middle of the road, you know, and take precautions, especially so I won't be a carrier between people or something like that. So what about the middle road of taking precautions? In other words, minimalizing the risk, but go ahead and taking some risk. That's the way I'm approaching this, and I'm approaching this chapter too. You know, weigh the risks, try to minimize the risk, try to decrease the risk as much as you can, and the cost that it will be if you don't succeed, you know, try to minimize that cost, and then go ahead. And David Peters has some words for us here, and he says, never a failure or loss if you learn something from it. Michael Jordan missed 10,000 shots. That's why he became so successful. That's what he said. Yeah, that's why. He said, I missed 10,000, right? I always forget numbers, but he said, I missed 10,000. That's why I became successful. Thank you, David. So we don't, if failure to me means the end of the world, then I don't like that word. But if failure to me means a lesson, a class that I just took, then I do like that word. You know, and remember that we are not failures. We have failures, we have classes, we have lessons, but we are not failures. We have mistakes, but we are not mistakes. Right? It does not change who I am and my value, and I cannot label myself that way, and I'm not going to let my past define me. I'm going to use it as a stepping stone. So, let's see what I can share with you from this. John says, how do you measure whether a risk is worth taking or not? Do you base it on fear? No, because you should do some things that scare you, at least some. And should you base it on the probability of success? I don't think that's the answer either. He said risk must be evaluated not by the fear it generates or the probability of success, but by the value of your goal. In other words, is this thing worth what I could lose? And that's why people went to war for our freedom, for our independence, this country, right? Give me liberty or give me death. They decided liberty was worth the risk of death. And people died. The people risked their lives because they figured that goal, that purpose was worth the risk. And so weigh out, what goal do you want? Are you going for? And is it worth your risk? He tells about a lady that grew up in Kansas, where I'm from, where I'm sitting right now. A lady named Millie, born in Kansas in 1897. And she went up in a plane ride. She was a very innovative, creative, bright child. And they knew that she would, you know, make waves and change the world when she was little. So she went up in this plane, had her first plane ride, and she got hooked. She knew she just had to do this, you know. And so she saved up got odd jobs and saved up the $1,000 to take flying lessons. But wasn't all that good at it. For her, it was hard. She had a bunch of crashes, but did not let that deter her. And she persevered. Years later, she's told her husband, please know that I'm well aware of the hazards, and I want to do it because I want to do it. And she did it because she was trying to break ground for others in the commercial flying field and also for women to know that they can do whatever they want to do, the women who might want to fly planes. So in 1921, she made her first solo flight. She set many aviation records. And we know her as Amelia Earhart. We know her as the first female pilot to fly solo over the Atlantic Ocean. So she did this. She opened doors for women and legitimizing commercial aviation. And she must have believed the motto of all great achievers: if at first you do succeed, try something harder. Up the ante, go to the next level, challenge ourselves. If we succeed, go to the next level. So I like that a lot. Hello, Steve. And Steve is another star student in the MLM Millionaire Academy. Welcome. Glad to see you. These are just the coolest stories. And we're talking about stories by John Maxwell in his book, Failing Forward. And he's talking about Amelia Earhart and how she, had these successes. Many. She set these, about 6 or 7 big old records here, and other records, breaking limits all the time, breaking limits. And so then she wanted to have one where she would fly around the world. She'd be the first woman to fly around the world, following the equator. Well, the first time she tried that, a tire blew, crashed the plane, causing tremendous damage. She failed that time, but had her plane fixed, and meanwhile she's gearing up to try another one. So 2 years later she starts again. And she and her navigator, Frederick Noonan, had flown 22,000 miles and had only 7,000 to go. They thought they were going to make it, but guess what? When they took off on that one, they were never seen again. And John Maxwell says, if anyone talked to Earhart during her last hours, I believe she would have not expressed any regret for attempting that. She once said, now and then women should do for themselves what men have already done, occasionally what men have not done, thereby establishing themselves and encouraging other women toward greater independence in thought and action. And that was her reason for wanting to do as much as she wanted to do. So he feels like she would have no regret. She did it. She did it. She succeeded in all these things, even if there was an end to it. She did it. And welcome, Patricia. Glad to see you. And welcome everybody watching. Who has ever had a failure? Let me see. Who has ever taken a risk that was scary to you? Please type in yes below, because I want to congratulate you for that. Who has ever taken a risk that was scary to you? And if you care to add more, I'd love to hear your story. Why did you take that risk? What made you decide to take it? Was it worth it? Was it worth it? What did you learn from it? I'd love to hear from you guys. And many times, yes, Patricia says. So I'd love to hear from all of you. Also, anyone who has a question, love to hear it. Anyone who has a tip, comment, takeaway, story, love to hear all of that below. That's what it's for. That's what the comments are for. So Amelia Earhart said, decide whether or not the goal is worth the risks involved. If it is, stop worrying and let the outcome be. Just go do it. You know you're doing the right thing for you. It's worth it, and you'll accept the outcome. So I don't think she worried as her plane probably went down in the ocean or wherever it was that they didn't find it. I think she was satisfied, I think she was good. Patricia says, teaching healing room training, starting businesses, leading healing rooms. So these are the risks that you've taken. Good. There's always going to be doubts, self-doubt. Who am I to do this? Am I good enough to do this? What will people think? What if I fail? Then what will people think? There's always all those doubts. Always. I was just coaching a lady right before this show toward that. There's always going to be doubts. There's always going to be triggers. There's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be people trying to stop us from attempting our worthy goal, taking steps toward our worthy goal, because that's what life does. It doesn't say, oh, here's a goal and here's the easy gold wave paved path to it. No, it tests us along the way. And each time we are tested and pass a doubt, surpass a doubt, overcome the challenges, the obstacles, find a creative way around them or whatever. Every time we do that, we grow as a person. And I think that's really the purpose of it all, for us to grow more than to achieve the goal. So if growth is the goal, then what does it matter if we achieve it or not? If growth is the true goal and the learning, personal growth, If that's the true goal, we cannot fail. There is no failure. If that's the true goal. Going to school, learning, growing, stretching. My little granddaughter, 9 months old, in San Diego, she is learning to walk right now. She's taken her first steps the other day, and I'm so thrilled for her. You should see her mouth. It's like, you know, she can't believe she's doing what she saw all the other people around her doing for 9 months that she couldn't do. And now she's doing it. But she's fallen a bunch, man. She's fallen her face. She smashed her little face. She's hurt things. She's cried, but she always got back up. I gotta walk. I gotta walk. I gotta get these muscles to work, you know. First she crawled to get her legs strong, and then she learned how to stand on her own, you know, for 3 seconds and 8 seconds. And then she learned to like move one leg ahead, balance and move one leg ahead of another. And she's just so happy that she can do that. She wakes up every day just full of this thrill. I can walk, and let me do it better and better and better. You know, the risk, the falling down, it's okay. Falling against things. She's fallen, she's hit her head, you know, hit her face, ouch, fallen on her bum. But she has this drive to walk. It's worth it, it's worth it. I get to walk, I get to, you know, move about the room. I get to eventually learn to run like I see people around me doing. I can do that. I can do that. I know it's there. I know it's there. Let me reach for it. Let me try. Let me try. Let me learn. Let me get it. So every day is about learning and getting better for her. Not about, you know, if she can run today or not, but just taking her next steps. That's what it's about. It's about the learning. So if she fails, if she falls down, it's okay. Big deal. Just get back up. Just learn again. Big deal. It's the learning. It's the thrill of taking those steps that we do. So John Maxwell says, you don't want to take risks. Everything in life is risky, he says. You don't want to, you know, if you take a look at this, don't ride, if you don't want to take any risks, don't ride an automobile. You know, don't ride in a car. 20% of all fatal accidents are in cars. Don't travel by air, rail, or water, because 16% of fatal accidents happen from those. Don't walk in the street. 15% of all accidents occur there. Don't stay home. 17% of all accidents happen there. So where are you going to go? In the cellar, hide out in the cellar? You know, that could blow up in a earthquake. Where are you going to go? To find no risks. I know a lady that just checked her mail one day and a motorcycle ran into her and injured her. You know, just checking her mail. They say it's more risky to drive a car than to fly a plane, right? Are you going to stay home? He says, Helen Keller, the famous speaker, author, and advocate for a disabled person, you know, the blind and deaf lady, she said, security is mostly a superstition. It doesn't exist in nature. Avoiding danger is safer in the long run than outright exposure. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. So I like that a lot. There is no safety. Why not risk? John Maxwell says, I get excited. John Maxwell says, if you risk failure, you stand still and you don't try anything new. And it was J.K. Chesterton says, the less you venture out, the greater your risk of failure. In other words, we don't try something, we're guaranteed to fail. So the less we risk, the greater the failure. Whereas the more you risk and actually fail, the greater your chances of success because you're learning from it. So actually, the way to increase our failure is not try, not take any risk. The way to increase our chances of success is to take risks, have the failures, and learn from it. It's kind of a paradox, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to conclude here pretty soon with this cool list. John says there's 2 types of people: don't dare try it people, and the don't dare miss it people. So I'm going to read this list, see which one you are. Here's under the don't dare try it people. They resist opportunities. They rationalize their responsibilities. They rehearse impossibilities. They rain on enthusiasm. They review their inadequacies. They recoil at the failure of others. They reject the personal cost involved. They replace goals with pleasure. In other words, watch TV tonight instead of build my network marketing business. They rejoice when they have not failed. They rest before they finish. They resist leadership. They remain unchanged. They replay the problems. They rethink their commitment, and they reverse their decisions. So their motto is, I would rather try nothing and succeed than try something great and risk failure. Whereas the people, the don't dare miss it people, that was the don't dare try it people, now is the don't dare miss it people, find opportunities, finish responsibilities, feed on impossibilities, fan the flame of enthusiasm, face their inadequacies, figure out why others failed, finance the cost into their lifestyle, find pleasure in the goal, fear futility, not failure, finish before they rest, follow leaders, force change, fish for solutions, fulfill their commitments, and finalize their decisions. Their motto, I'd rather try something great and fail than try nothing great and succeed at that. And John says there's a few traps. How many traps? 6 traps that pull people back from risk. He's pretty thorough on this, isn't he? Okay, 1 trap is the embarrassment trap. What will people say about me? That's a trap. It's a trap we could fall for. 2, the rationalization trap. Second guess everything that they do. 3, unrealistic. They think everything should be easy and shouldn't take effort, so they give up. 4, the fairness trap. Dick Butler says life isn't fair. It isn't going to be fair. Stop sniveling and whining and go out and make it happen for you. Don't wait till it's fair. Don't refuse to play game. I'm going to take my marbles and go home because it isn't fair. That unfairness might be the very thing that would strengthen or teach me. Let us accept that gift of the unfairness. Number 5 trap, the timing trap. Don't wait for the right time. Jim Stowell says, don't wait for all the lights to be green before you leave your house. Number 6, the inspiration trap. Oh, I have to be inspired. I have to be great. I have to be prepared. I have to be great. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. We don't have to be great to start, but we have to start to get that greatness. Okay, so those are the 6 traps. John Maxwell says, are you taking enough risks? Make sure you are generating a number of risks. If you come to the end of the year and see you haven't made any mistakes, then I say, brother, you just haven't tried everything you should have tried. And one last tip from John here. If you've been hitting all your goals, then try to increase your willingness to take chances. On the other hand, if you find yourself where it seems like you don't achieve many of your goals, you may be playing it too safe. Again, increase the willingness to take risks. Right? Either way, that's the answer. Okay, John says, last thing, think about the next big goal ahead of you. Write down your plan for reaching it. Then go over that plan to see whether you have included enough risks. If not, find parts of that process where you can push the envelope, take more chances, and increase your opportunity for success. That's it. This chapter. Did you guys get something from this today? I got a lot from it. And Jim Bailey says, marble, it's been a while, what a great reminder. And Jim says, right on, thanks for being who you be. Oh, thank you each. Thank you each. I know you guys know all the wisdom. You have as much wisdom as anyone, and love to hear it here. Okay, so next chapter for this book, Failing Forward, John Maxwell. Next chapter is Make Failure Your Best Friend. That is chapter 12 in this wonderful book. And Jim and Jeff and Brandy are going to present this on Monday. You can find all these shows at the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show Facebook group. You can find the shows there. You can get a free ebook there. You can find 700 replays when you scroll down. You can find 600 other MLM wonderful leaders in that Facebook group. So we invite you to do that and to check out our school in the MLM Millionaire Academy. I'll put a link below. You can find it at mlmmillionaireclub.com/basics, because that is where we teach this stuff. We teach mindset and skills. And the skills, 80% of success is mindset, but the skills are how to, our signature method is how to always get a yes, never get objections. Works with all 4 personalities, is easily duplicatable, doesn't need a video to, you don't have to chase people to watch a video. It works just the best I've ever seen to get your business going fast and get your new recruits going fast. We call it the favor script and the 10-minute presentation. It's our signature method in the school that has people jumping ranks who use it, and we're very proud of it, of what we do, we teach in that school, because we've collected and presented the best of all of network marketing within that school at a super affordable price, no contract, all that. So we'd love to have you check it out. Try us out. No risk, right? $25 a month is the risk. You're kidding. No, we've made it that low to be affordable for everybody. So it's a super, super low risk. Why not try it out? Why not check it out? If it can make you thousands and millions, why not check it out? It's really worth checking. Okay, we'd love to have you. Everybody take care, and we'll see you next time, Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show at that Facebook group. See you then. Everyone take care. Bye-bye.